What's going on, everybody? Griffin here, coming at you with some Scorch gameplay. And today, we're just going to be talking about when did the fall happen. So let's head over and let's talk about it. So I've been kind of going through the Rogue Company patch notes, just kind of doing some light reading, just to kind of pin down where Rogue Company started taking a turn from being what it originally set out to be, which was a tactical third-person shooter. Right, that's what the original conception of the game was. That's what it released as, and then it slowly but surely morphed into something quite different with each sequential update that's come out for Rogue Company. So in doing this, the biggest thing, in my opinion, at least where I feel like the ball was just absolutely fumbled out of the map into a different sport, was whenever they did the Mac update in May of 2021. That was the update where they attempted to change the TTK for Rogue Company. Now, I know that this is something that I've talked about almost to nauseum in the past, about how the TTK was something that like really screwed up the flow of the game. And that is kind of where they started losing their footing, in my opinion. Now, the reason why I feel like that this is kind of where this is where they fumbled the bag, right, is because the TTK for the game, from the time of its drop, which was in July of 2020, from that point up until May the 11th of 2021, we had the same time to kill. We had, we had characters introduced in that time. During that time, we've got Dahlia, we got Fixer, we got Sigrid, we've got Seeker. We got several characters introduced during that time. We also had new weapons introduced. We had the tier introduced and that whole saga of that thing. We had the Sahara introduced with all the different changes for that. We had different utilities introduced, right? We had the bounce grenade introduced during that time. We had new ways to reveal people, with Seeker's bow. We had new mechanics to work around, like Sigrid's shield, the heat vision for Fixer, things like that. The revive capabilities that Dahlia has. There's a lot of things that were introduced there. People for almost a year were just absolutely pacified with how the game ran, with how the weapons felt, and how everything on the whole was. And then they decided that they wanted to increase the TTK for Rogue Company. And if I remember correctly, it feels like the reason why, Pretty Hair at the time, I tried to search for the video, but I couldn't find it. And it might have been like in a live stream or something that they did, but basically came out and said that they wanted to increase the TTK for the game so that it felt a little bit more rewarding for players or something along those lines. And it didn't feel rewarding for a lot of players, because whenever you've played a game for a year and it's been consistent with the damage, it's been consistent with how the weapons work, and you throw something that large into the mix, then of course it's not going to be well received. And it wasn't well received. Right before the Mac update was also the arms dealer update, which was a whole debacle in and of itself. So you kind of see that, like, season 1 comes out, we get Seeker, everything's going great. We get that robot Scorch skin, which is absolutely incredible. And then season 2 was the first misstep of Rogue Company. And to me, that's where the downfall started happening. That's where Scott Gandhi, who was the lead designer at the time, started to pull back just a little bit and started to be less, vocal on Twitter, be less engaging on Twitter with the audience about making potential changes and, making potential balance passes at the game and gaining the community's feedback in that way. He started pulling away so much to the point that he decided to go work on the mobile version, which never got released. Whenever that happened, Pretty Hair became the lead designer. Pretty Hair is a strikeout player who absolutely, whether it was him or someone over at the High Res Studios, decided that they wanted to turn Rogue Company from a tactical third-person shooter into Halo or COD. And that's exactly what they did. They got their TTK changes, not in the way that they originally wanted them, but they still got their TTK changes, and they slowly morphed the game into a more RNG style of game, as opposed to something that is more tactically focused. And to me, that took the beauty of what Rogue Company was to where it was more of a thinking man's game as opposed to a more of a twitchy man's game, and turned it into a twitchy man's game. And that's exactly how it feels right now. And it sucks. Not to mention with the consistent issues that Rogue has been having recently, and the fact that we haven't got a new update in, I don't know, since November. So almost 6 months now at this point. I did a video about that a couple of weeks ago. It's ridiculous. To me, that is where they dropped the ball. And to me, them having to roll a lot of those changes back might have caused some hurt feelings over at the high-res camp. And what do you expect whenever you release a game for almost a year and then you decide you want to do something as substantial as changing all of the ways that the weapons work and changing what the actual time to kill of the game is? Like, that should have been something that was solidified in alpha, and it should have never changed from that point forward. So at the end of the day, that's what I feel is the biggest fumble. Now, I would like, anybody that's watching this that wants to chime in with their 2 cents is to go to the roguecompany.fandom.com wiki page and go to patch notes and just scroll through these patch notes. They have July the 20th, 2020 was the first patch notes that they released, all the way up until the 3 Wishes, April the 19th, 2023 patch notes. So this isn't even all the way up to date. We don't even have the Winter Warfare patch notes or anything like that in here. But just browse through them, read through them just a little bit, refresh your memory, and just let me know what you think is the time that Rogue Company started to fail. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.